When I think of a fig, I typically think of the kids that live on the floor with me, but also the kids I had the opportunity to be in a class with. Um, in terms of like the fig life, usually we all share the same interests and maybe have the same career driven path. But I think what really makes a fig unique is the ability for all of us to come together and grow on the same exact floor and get to interact with each other while developing new interests in our career and field.
Um, what figs mean to me are an opportunity to really build lasting relationships that are structured and connected to the student as a whole person. And I think that one of the most powerful things and powerful experiences about teaching a class that is directly associated with one of the FIGs, this first year seminar called Thinking Like a Mountain. All of the students in that class are part of the living and learning community of the FIG, as well as in the class. And what that allows us to do is to create relationships that go beyond the academic, but are ultimately grounded in their learning and in themselves as people. And us all getting to know one another, getting to know the place of Laramie and southeastern Wyoming, and getting to explore these big questions of environment and natural resources together in ways that let students go into their next steps, onto their second semester, into their sophomore year, with both a sense of community and a sense of identity that they're forming alongside their peers and with me as a faculty member.
So my favorite Fig experience, Fig hangout group sesh is, oh, there's a few, but I think the one that I'll come down to is the field trips. But it's the idea of, being with our professor, being with the other students, also being with professors who I've had classes with now. They were professors for upper division classes, and I met them as a freshman, and now I'm their student. And just that transition and the interaction, seeing them versus freshman versus professor, that's a whole other conversation, but totally fantastic. But yeah, I just like the idea of, we're all hopping in a car, we're driving to our next stop, and then, talking a little bit about it, and then, kind of move on to the next, grabbing lunch together, and then just a bunch of, small little activities. And then we get back, right in time for dinner, and then we all go grab dinner together. So it's a broad, we'll say, experience, but that's how each of the field trips was. It was kind of rinse and repeat that design, but I loved that design. So to me, it made no difference.
Some students on my floor can't afford the textbook for some classes, and there's so many people on the floor that offered their own textbooks, study materials that they're able to afford. And it's just really nice to see that people are willing to step up and help each other out, especially with classes. And especially since this is a really difficult time right now for a lot of freshmen where they're adjusting to college life as well as college classes. And seeing them just help each other out is definitely one of the best parts of being a FIG-RA. And last year, I think more on the fun side, my floor partner and I held an event where we invited UW-PD to come and talk to the residents. And that was a really fun experience as an RA and with the FIG, because they were able to ask the officer questions about the job, how they got it, what they like, what they dislike. And it allowed a lot of residents to kind of reignite their passion for why they wanted to be criminal justice majors in the first place. So that was a really fun experience to have.
Well, so besides like being in class together, we've done a couple activities where we've explored the nursing program and done an interactive building tour, but also as a floor, we have a lot of movie nights. So sometimes you can find people sleeping in the fishbowl at 2 a.m., maybe watching a movie. Probably the best memories are Among Us games that go on for hours.
We go for a field week for the week before classes begin. And the place that those students are in, when we're starting is so different from where they are at the end, when typically we have a meal that we share at my home, and we really get to kind of connect across this enormous period of growth in the first semester of their time at UW. They come back as peer mentors, both for the field week as well as throughout the semester and beyond. So seeing those students through from their very first moments on campus, officially as a student at UW, through to their graduation and beyond is just an incredible gift. And I think the power of those relationships that are formed in place in these shared spaces that we have both on campus and beyond, that's really what makes a living and learning community special.